Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ashley and this is my first video here on YouTube. I'll be posting videos mostly related to reading and lifestyle videos. I read mostly Christian fiction, and romance, suspense, and historical are probably my three favorite categories out of the Christian fiction world. Today's video is my spring TBR. I will be posting TBRs, tags, vlogs, wrap-ups, kind of a mixture of things, and I'll just see what works as I go along. So yeah, I've chosen 10 books for my spring TBR. I may not get to all of them. There's a couple of them that are part of a series, and so I'm sure once I read the first one, I'll want to read the next ones. So that could add some time, and also if I make any trips to the library, that could mess this up too. But as of right now, these are the books that I'm looking forward to reading this spring. We'll just hop right into the first book, I guess. The first one is Double Take by Lynette Eason. This was published, I believe, in 2024, and it's 308 pages, romantic suspense. I do have notes over here, so if you see me looking over here, I'm not experienced at this, so forgive me, but I will be looking over here once in a while. The description of this book is that she survived a murder plot and her attacker is dead, isn't he? Physician assistant Lainey Jackson is 18 months out from an attempted murder perpetrated by her ex, which ended when she managed to grab the weapon and shoot him. When he appears to have survived and is back to finish the job he started, Lainey insists it's not possible, but she keeps seeing his face, and someone keeps trying to kill her. Detective James Cross has been honorably discharged from the Army's Criminal Investigation Division due to wounds sustained when an IED blew up near him. Now at the Lake City Police Department, he's rooming with his good buddy and partner Cole while he figures out his family's dynamics. Lainey and James must work together to find out who exactly is after her and why he wants her dead, and failure is not an option. I have seen a lot of people talking about this book, and when my mom and I were in the bookstore the day we got this, there was an elderly man, probably in his 80s, that told the owner of the bookshop that he had read this and that it would keep you on the edge of your seat. So I am looking forward to that one. Next up is The Letter Tree by Rachel Fordham. Looks like this. This one was published in 2023 and it's 334 pages. The description of this one is Buffalo, New York, 1924. Laura Bradshaw adores stories with happily ever afters, but since her mother died 7 years ago, the Bradshaw Shoe Company heiress has been as good as locked away in a tower. Her overbearing father cares little for her dreams, throwing himself instead into his tireless takedown of his competitor, the Campbell Shoe Company. However, Laura has been gifted with a reprieve, a mysterious friend with whom she's been exchanging letters. As heir to the Campbell Shoe Company, Isaac Campbell is a sought-after bachelor who has never felt an inkling of desire for the women who constantly bat their eyes at him. His thoughts are consumed by an oak tree in the Buffalo Zoo, or rather the mystery woman he exchanges letters with, courtesy of the tree. She's been one of Isaac's only joys in a life consumed by his father's tireless hatred of Bradshaw, a hatred that Isaac is coming to realize may affect him more personally than he ever imagined. When Laura's father orchestrates a match between her and an important business owner, she resolves to pursue her only chance at freedom. But Isaac believes their story isn't bound for a tragic ending. He's certain there's more to the Bradshaw-Campbell feud than meets the eye, and he won't stop digging until he uncovers the truth that might bridge the divide between him and the woman whose words have captured his heart. Sounds pretty good to me. This is just labeled as fiction, but it sounds like historical romance and a little mystery, so very excited to read this one. I did just finish a book today, The Trace of Doubt by Diane Mills, and this is the first one that I'm gonna read off my spring TBR, so I'm excited for that. Okay, I just had to get up and check and make sure that my camera was working, that I'm in the frame and everything. I'm just filming off my iPhone, but it's kind of set up on a sketchy little stand, so it looks like it's working so far, so that's good. The next book on my list is Becoming Happy and Healthy by Janine Amapola. I've watched her on YouTube since probably 2017, so I was really excited that she came out with a book. This was published this year, and it's 183 pages, Christian Living Young Adult. This one says, there's never been a more complex and confusing time to navigate adulthood than right now, but what if it didn't have to be confusing for you? It's possible to live the happy and healthy life that God has for you, and this step-by-step guide helps you get there. In her debut book, Christian YouTuber, podcaster, and Bible teacher Janine Amapola shows you how. Janine shares stories she's never shared before about her journey to finding freedom from her secret struggles, poor choices, and toxic relationships. Tackling everything from dating and friendship to body image, faith, and career choices, Janine offers authentic biblical advice to help you make wise decisions to set you up for success in every area of life. Learn better habits to become more disciplined and healthier. Break free from your struggles and hang-ups. Challenge yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually to become all God has called you to be. Living happy and healthy isn't complicated. You too can overcome any challenge you face and live the full, fruitful, and free life you were created for. I'm really excited for this one. It looks like it's got, I don't know, some extra, like some step-by-step tips in it also. So that'll be a good one. I've only got 2 nonfiction out of these 10. So, okay. The next one scares me a little bit, but everybody talks about this. A Voice in the Wind by Francine Rivers. It's huge. It's 544 pages. But everyone that I've heard talk about it say once you get into it, it just goes like that. I think my mom read it in 2 days, which is crazy. And then there's 2 more that come after this one. There's not a description in it, but it's a pretty well-known book. You can probably Google it and it'll bring up a description. But I'm excited to read this, but then I know I'm going to want to read the next one, and yeah, it's just it's scary to start a book like this, but I do want to read it, so it's on my list. The next one I have is My Hope Next Door by Tammy L. Gray. This one was published in 2016. It's 308 pages. It looks like a pretty quick read. This one says, former bad girl Katie Stone can feel the weight of her reputation settle over her as she drives home for the first time in years. Feeling deeply guilty about her past mistakes, Katie wants to do the right thing for once. But the small town where she grew up is not nearly as forgiving as she'd hoped. Despite it all, she's determined to help her parents cope with her mother's recent illness, and Katie finds a surprise ally in the man next door. Asher Powell never minded being the son of a small-town pastor until a recent breakup leaves him wounded by lifelong members of his church. He remembers his new neighbor as a mean-spirited high school troublemaker, but he senses that her newfound faith and desire for forgiveness are sincere. Through an unexpected friendship, 2 people from different worlds find peace, hope, and a second chance they never dreamed was possible. Sounds really good. So the other nonfiction book I have is The Power to Change by Craig Groeschel. I've never read any of his books. I think he's a pastor, but I've heard lots of good things about it, so I'm going to give it a chance. This one was published last year, 2023, and it's 237 pages. It says, discover the path to true transformation. Few things in life are more frustrating than knowing you need to change, wanting to change, and trying to change, but not changing. Pastor and best-selling author Craig Groeschel knows what it's like to be caught in that demoralizing cycle. That was his own story until he discovered practical principles for experiencing lasting change. In the 25 years since, Craig has helped countless others find true change in their relationships, habits, and thought patterns. In The Power to Change, Craig helps you understand how God's power, not your willpower, leads to true transformation, the real reasons you do what you do, why falling isn't failure, the power of creating small habits that lead to change, how to choose what you want most over what you want now, powerful blend of biblical wisdom and fascinating psychology. The power to change includes helpful exercises, real-life stories, and life-changing spiritual insights. And it does look like there's a lot of exercises and stuff in there, so it looks like a good one. I'm a little intimidated by all of that stuff because I have a hard time. I don't know, when I read, I just want to read and not take time to process, but it sounds like one that I'm gonna want to try and slow down with and process. So yeah, it looks good. I'm excited for that. The next one is If I Run by Terry Blackstock. I've heard a lot of people talk about this. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first one. And I don't own the next two, but I know our library has them. So if I like this, I'll probably just get the next two from the library. But this was published in 2016 and it's 296 pages. It says, Casey Cox's DNA is all over the crime scene. There's no use talking to police. They failed her abysmally. There's no use talking to the police. They failed her abysmally before. She has to flee before she's arrested, or worse. The truth doesn't matter anymore. But what is the truth? That's the question haunting Dylan Roberts, the war-weary veteran hired to find Casey. PTSD has marked him damaged goods, but bringing Casey back can redeem him. Though the crime scene seems to tell the whole story, details of the murder aren't adding up. Casey Cox doesn't fit the profile of the killer, but are Dylan's skewed perceptions keeping him from being objective? If she isn't guilty, why did she run? Unraveling her past and the evidence that condemns her will take more time than he has, but as Dylan's damaged soul intersects with hers, he is faced with two choices. The girl who occupies his every thought, or oh, there's a sticker covering that. The girl who occupies his every thought is a something killer or a selfless hero. And the truth could be the most deadly something yet. Okay, well, I need to get that sticker off of there, but this sounds like a good one. It sounds like the other people who have read this just read the next two directly after. So I'm excited to get to that one. Then the next one up is Then There Was You by Kara Isaac. I don't think I've ever read anything by this author, but my mom read it last summer and absolutely loved it. So this was published in 2017 and it's 331 pages. This says, Paige McAllister needs to do something drastic. Her boyfriend can't even commit to living in the same country. That's a problem. Her job is at a dead end, and the loss of both her brother and her dream of being a concert violinist has kept her playing life safe and predictable for years. A moment of temporary insanity finds her leaving Chicago to move to Sydney, Australia, where she finds herself, against many of her convictions, as the logistics planner for one of Australia's biggest churches, and on a collision course with her boss's son. Ooh. Josh Tyler fronts a top-selling worship band and is in demand all over the world, but in the past, his failed romantic relationships almost destroyed both his reputation and his family. He's determined to never risk it happening again. The last thing he needs is some American girl tipping his ordered life upside down, especially one who despises everything he's ever worked for. When Josh and Paige are thrown together to organize his band's next tour, the sparks fly. But can they find a way to bridge the fears that pull them apart? Or will they choose the safety and security of what they know over taking a chance on something that will require them to risk everything? Sounds really good. The next one is The Memory House by Rachel Hawk. This was published in 2019 and it's 369 pages. I haven't heard anything about this, but it looked good, so we'll see. When Becky Halliday lost her father in the North Tower on 9/11, she also lost her memories of him. 18 years later, she's a tough New York City cop, burdened with a damaging secret, suspended for misconduct, and struggling to get her life in order. Meanwhile, a mysterious letter arrives informing her she's inherited a house along Florida's northern coast, and what she discovers there will change her life forever. Matters of the heart only become more complicated when she reconnects with handsome Bruno Endicott, a driven sports agent who fondly recalls the connection they shared as teenagers, but Beck doesn't remember that either. Decades earlier, widow Everly Applegate lives a steady, uneventful life with her widowed mother after a tornado ripped through Waco, Texas, and destroyed her dreams for the future. When she runs into old high school friend Don Callahan, she begins to yearn for change. Yet no matter how much she longs to love again, she is hindered by a secret she can never share. 50 years separate the women, but through the power of love and the miracle of faith, they each find healing in a beautiful Victorian known affectionately as the Memory House. Ooh, that one sounds really good. I'm excited. The next one, this is the last one, I guess. When the Day Comes by Gabrielle Meyer. I've heard a lot of good things about this. It's historical romance, and it was published in 2022, 373 pages. Let's see. Libby has been given a powerful gift to live one life in 1774 colonial Williamsburg and the other in 1914 Gilded Age New York City. When she falls asleep in one life, she wakes up in the other. While she's the same person at her core in both times, she's leading two vastly different lives. In colonial Williamsburg, Libby is a public printer for the House of Burgesses and the royal governor, trying to provide for her family and support the patriot cause. The man she loves, Henry Montgomery, has his own secrets. As the revolution draws near, both their lives and any hope of love are put in jeopardy. Libby's life in 1914 New York is filled with wealth, drawing room conversations, and bachelors. But the only work she cares about, women's suffrage, is discouraged, and her mother is intent on marrying her off to an English marquise. The growing talk of war in Europe only complicates matters, but Libby knows she's not destined to live two lives forever. On her 21st birthday, she must choose one path and forfeit the other. But how can she choose when she has so much to lose in each life? Oh. Okay. Now I want to read all of these. I think I'm going to stick with the letter tree for next, but these two maybe sound the best to me. I'm excited for all of those. That's all I have for this video. I don't know when I'll post my next one. Maybe a week from now. I'm thinking once a week, but I really have no idea how long editing is going to take me. So we'll see. Hopefully my next one is soon. It'll probably be a bookshelf tour or maybe a reading vlog of me reading some of these. We'll see. But thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking or subscribing if you liked this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.